Go love your own enemies. Don't be loving mine. My enemies are the theocratic fascists. I don't love them. I want to destroy them.
You're a child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
So, like the hat? Yes, my cat has, this used to be my favorite hat, but my cat decided that it was a cat bed, and so I haven't used it for a while. I retired it, but this morning my hat that I wear to work, which is what I've been using lately in my videos, is out in my car, and I'm too lazy to go and get it. So you can laugh at me, at my hat, all you want to. I am totally understanding. I think it looks kind of stupid, but there it is. Try to imagine, if you will, that a group of people in some other country, a group of Christians in some other country, decided to follow some verses in the Bible exactly to the letter. And they started hunting down any woman they could find acting at all against what the Bible says women should act like. You know, any strong woman, any woman who dares to question what a man says, any woman who tries to have authority over men, any woman who is a medical doctor or a pharmacist or deals with, anyway. And they basically say that women like this are witches. And they start burning women at the stake, women and girls, for anything that might make them think that that woman or girl is a witch. Imagine this whole group of people invading other countries and capturing women and burning them at the stake in the name of Christianity, in the name of what the Bible says they should do. Would it be right to take all the Christians in America and say, you know what, if you leave the country you can't come back in again, and no more Christians can come here? You know, you immigrated here a couple years ago, and now you're hoping that the rest of your family will come here too. Well, they can't, because we're closing our borders to all Christians. And all the Christians that are here, just FYI, you're being watched, and we're seriously considering putting you in camps maybe, because we don't know if we can trust you. Would that be right to do that to the Christians that have been living here in this country all their lives, just because some group of terrorists across the ocean in some other land are rounding up women and burning them at the stake? It is actually a bad analogy, because I'm saying that women are the ones that are being burned at the stake. Women. Seems to me that when women are the victims, it's not such a big deal. So maybe let's say that this group of Christians in another country are rounding up men and boys and deeming them to be wizards, sorcerers, and burning them at the stake. Okay, now we've upped the ante. Now is it a bad thing? They're men that are being burned to death and boys that are being burned to death? Okay, so now that we're talking seriously bad, would it be right to persecute all the Christians in America and deny them rights, deny them freedoms, threaten them, persecute them, demean them, assume they're all the same? Would that be right? And yet Trump says this.
I don't know if you saw this speech, but there was a man named Kaiser Khan speaking at the Democratic Convention last night. His son, Captain Humayun Khan, was killed serving in Iraq, and he had some very tough questions for you. You wouldn't have even let his son in America.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know that. I saw him. He was, you know, very emotional and probably looked like a nice guy to me. His wife If you look at his wife, she was standing there. She had nothing to say. Maybe she wasn't allowed to have anything to say. You tell me, but plenty of people have written that. She was extremely quiet, and it looked like she had nothing to say. A lot of people have said that, and personally, I watched him. I wish him the best of luck, George.
What would you say to that, Father?
Well, I'd say we've had a lot of problems with radical Islamic terrorism. That's what I'd say. We have a lot of problems where you look at San Bernardino, you look at Orlando, you look at the World Trade Center, you look at so many different things. You look at what happened to the priest over the weekend in Paris where his throat was cut, 85-year-old beloved Catholic priest. You look at what happened in Nice, France a couple of weeks ago. I'd say you got to take a look at that because something's going on and it's not good.
Because something's going on and it's not good. Yeah. And for that reason, we're going to generalize a whole group of people, put them in a box and say, all Muslims are this way. Yeah, something's going on and it's not good. It's called patriarchal religion. Abrahamic patriarchal beliefs. You have books that have some good verses and some bad verses. And the good verses get good people to agree with them. The bad verses get bad people to agree with them. Doesn't matter if those people are Muslims or Christians. I look at the Westboro Baptist Church, for example. They agree with some of those bad verses in the Bible. They think God hates fags. Yeah, because this book says so. Actually, the book doesn't really. It just says that we should murder gays. Yeah, let's all stone gays to death. Let's listen to the Bible. Let's follow what it says and stone all the gays to death. There's actually some Christians on this earth that think gays should be killed. There are Christians on this earth that think women who dare to have some kind of say over what happens to them physically belong in prison for simply wanting health care or choosing to not want to be mothers because they had other plans for their lives. Well, let's put them in prison. The planet's overpopulated, and one day people are going to look back at our generation and curse us for not taking it seriously and not trying to control our numbers, but instead continue to mindlessly breed like rabbits, letting all other life on this planet get choked out and all wild habitat on this planet to get choked out because humanity is so much more important than everything else. One day we're all going to be starving to death because there will be not enough resources to feed all of us. Oh, but we have to make all those babies come to reality. If every time a woman accidentally gets pregnant, she's stuck. She has to have a baby whether she wants it or not, and we're going to force her. Yeah, there's Christians like that who think that women should be put into slavery because that's what it would be. Thanks to these books, you have some people running around with some seriously radical ideas, and some of them are so radical that they follow through with their ideas and kill people. You have people that are looking at the Quran and seeing some really awful stuff in there, and they're taking it literally, and they're following it and running around and killing people. You have people that are looking at the rather awful verses in the Bible and taking it literally and running around disrupting people's funerals and at a time when people are grieving and just showing complete lack of consideration for other people's feelings. You have people trying to bar other people from using the bathroom in a public restroom. You have people trying to say that everybody can get married except this one group of people over here because a book says this. I say the books are what's going on here, these books. And as long as you have books out in circulation that say, kill someone who does this, kill someone who does that. If someone does this, you should kill them. All people who do this should die. These are archaic, barbaric teachings. And most people are civilized enough to disregard them, cherry pick only the warm and fuzzy bits. But then there's other people who are possibly mentally ill who see the whole book and actually look at those verses, and people die because these mentally ill people take these verses seriously and actually follow them. Funny how mentally ill people seem to be drawn toward religion in general. Oh, I killed my daughter because God told me to. I'm sorry, I don't agree with Trump. I don't like Islam. I also don't like Christianity. I'd say they're both evil belief systems, and they both squash women's rights. And that's another thing. He attacks the mother for not saying anything. He immediately assumes it's because she's Muslim and her religion doesn't allow her to speak. And well, she says, oh, my religion regards men and women as equal, and that I do not believe is true. I believe any patriarchal belief system squashes women's rights and puts women under men. They are not equal in any kind of patriarchal belief system. Women are just not equal to men. But that isn't the reason in this case that this mother kept quiet. There's another video now that's out. There was an interview and they made a video of it where she describes why she keeps quiet. Not that it's really anybody's business. That's another thing. Since when are we in everybody's business? Oh my gosh. Leonard Nimoy just died and William Shatner isn't crying enough, is he? Look at him. He's not grieving the way we think he should grieve, so he must not really be a friend to Leonard Nimoy. Really? Grief is a private, personal thing. Since when is the media sticking its nose into somebody's grief or how they grieve? Or whether or not they feel able to speak. Their son is dead, and there's a huge picture of him right there in front of her, and isn't she going to feel a little overwhelmed by that and maybe not have the ability to speak? In addition to that, you can't throw stones at Islam if you're a Christian. Trump professes to be a Christian. Well, look at your own religion, Trump. Both Islam and Christianity say that a woman needs to be silent. It's dishonorable for a woman to have any authority over a man or to speak. The man is supposed to be the one in charge. The man is supposed to be the spokesperson for the family, not the woman. Let the man speak. I'm not saying that this is the case and this is why she did not speak. She's explained now why she did not speak. But he jumped to the conclusion that it was because of her religion. He has no right to criticize Islam if he's a Christian. Christianity is just as bad. It's just a little more subtle. America has been milk-fed on Christianity, and we still see it. We still see a lesser variation of the women must cover themselves, but men don't have to rule that Muslim women have to follow. As I said in a previous video, you don't see women are walking around topless, and if they do, there's a good chance they'll probably end up in jail for exposing themselves. Women can't even breastfeed in public, which is like the most natural, beautiful thing on the planet, because we have all these ideas about women's chests. That's all from religion. That's all influenced by Christianity in this country, and also Judaism, I'm pretty sure, too. Or at least fundamentalist Judaism. I don't know very much about Judaism, honestly. I've seen the men on the planes who don't want to sit next to women, and that's enough for me to be turned off. Ooh, we might get cooties if we sit next to a woman. Anyway, so my point is outcasting a whole group of people, putting them all in a box and saying they're all this because some of them, some fanatics, some mentally ill people are taking the darker bits of the Quran seriously is unfair. If these were Christian terrorists on the other side of the world or elsewhere, causing mayhem and mass horrible death to people, would we be persecuting Christians in this country and looking at them like they cannot be trusted? Ooh, they're Christian. They must all want the same thing as the terrorist Christians do. They must all want to burn people at the stake. Humans are stupid. I'm sorry. I watched Trump, this clip that I just showed, I watched the full clip last night of this interview. I'm trying to read it. Your Voice, Your Vote, ABC, it looks like it's on my screen. I watched the whole interview, and I am just blown away that this man can be still in the running after the way he speaks. Oh, it's like everything good that happens in the world is because of Donald Trump. Oh, I had something to do with that. Yes, that was because I did this. Da 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 da. Everything that happens in the world is because, well, Donald Trump hasn't involved himself yet, which is why it's a mess. But once he does everything, oh, Obama did that. I'm pretty sure that was during Obama's administration that something in another country was going on. Really? Gee, I thought Obama became the president of the United States, not the president of the world. And yet he, in this entire, I will put the link below to the video I'm talking about, in his entire little interview, he's constantly going back to, it's Obama's fault, it's Obama's fault, it's Obama's fault. Hillary is such a liar. She just lies. She's not a good person. And he can talk? I'm sorry. I haven't seen Hillary stick her foot in her mouth repeatedly and insult people repeatedly and say things that a 5-year-old would say repeatedly. And as far as lying goes, there's an article that I read about that too, just how much Trump lies compared to other politicians. And in fact, I think I might try to find that article. I will put the link to this article also below. It's posted July 26th by Charlie Barrel. Why can't you believe Hillary Clinton is inherently honest? A few days ago, we presented the top 10 most honest and dishonest American politicians based on my analysis of ratings by the Pulitzer Prize-winning news site PolitiFact.com. I am utterly astounded at how many conservative readers ranted and raved either against the veracity of the list or that no amount of evidence will change their minds that the two people they hate most in the world, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, rated among the top 10 most honest politicians. I make no apology for being a bleeding heart liberal, but I'm also a scientist, and I know that any data-based conclusions I make have to be reproducible. The data has to be publicly available and trustworthy. That's why I turned to PolitiFact in the first place. They give a painstakingly exhaustive presentation of the fact-checking involved in each and every one of their ratings. It is all open source, available for anyone and everyone to read and verify for themselves, and they don't hold back. The data. Donald Trump is a total of 202 statements rated by PolitiFact as of July 25, 2016. Only 14 statements predate his campaign announcement of June 16, 2015. In other words, they have a very complete record of his political statements as a presidential candidate. Hillary Clinton has a total of 225 statements rated as of July 25, 2016. Her file starts on August 1, 2007, and therefore covers 2 candidacies and her time as Secretary of State. In other words, they have a very complete record of her political statements as a presidential candidate and government official. Below are the percentages of their statements that were rated in each of 6 categories. Pants on fire, lie. False, mostly false, half true, mostly true, true. You can verify the numbers for yourself with the links above. There's a graph. You can look at this. I'll put the link in my video description. PolitiFact isn't the only group keeping tabs on honesty. They are just the easiest one to search by construction, as opposed to the Washington Post and factcheck.org, both of whom are quite reliable but want you to read their analyses to get ad revenue. But the results don't change. For example, in a July 15, News analysis of 52 Trump claims versus 32 of Clinton's, they raised a whopping 63% of Trump's statements as false and only 14% from Clinton. Trump is a liar. Clinton is not. However you figure it, Donald Trump consistently rates in the top 5 biggest liars of the 3,390 people and organizations that PolitiFact has tracked. He added another lie in the time it took me to write this. The conclusion is inescapable. Trump is a voracious liar. On the other hand, Clinton always places in the top 10 for honesty out of a sample of 3,390. Those aren't my opinions, by the way, nor my beliefs or convictions or the way I want the world to work. Look, I didn't want Clinton to be the Democratic nominee. I actually supported Martin O'Malley. So I'm not writing this as an ardent Clinton supporter. I grab the data, I analyze it, I report it. Trump is a liar. Clinton is not. Why is it so hard to believe that Clinton is basically honest? Doesn't it seem just a little odd that it is overwhelmingly Trump, our current liar-in-chief, who calls Clinton crooked and dishonest? He's a marketing genius. How else do you rip off so many people for so much money over such a long career? Well, it's working. The latest CNN poll has 68% of respondents saying Clinton isn't honest and trustworthy. There are loads of news analyses on why that is the case, which mostly boil down to people disproportionately fixating on the small number of lies that Clinton told, while essentially brushing all of Trump's under the rug as inconsequential. They insist that Clinton's few scandals are more damning than Trump's many. It seems that people want Clinton to be a liar and really don't care that Trump actually is one. In the face of overwhelming evidence, there is nothing noble about dogmatic stubbornness. Do you hate Hillary Clinton? More power to you. But you can't buy Trump's bogus claim that she's perhaps the most dishonest person to have ever run for the presidency. You certainly can't go repeating it. Not convinced? Look your mother, your sister, your daughter in the eye and tell her, I've just been shown the evidence that Trump is the biggest liar in current American politics and Hillary Clinton is one of the most honest, and I refuse to accept it.